All right, we are ready to get kicked off here shortly. Our next presentation is from Lisa Joseph. For those of you not familiar with Lisa, she is our Director of Recruiting here at Find a Wrench, and as I mentioned at the open, she is the kind of the straw that stirs the cocktail here at Find a Wrench. So she's incredibly talented at what she does, and I look forward to having her be able to share some of her best practices and really how to really get out in front of technicians. So good afternoon, Lisa. How are you?
Well, thank you very much.
That's good. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of your way right away and let you kick things off.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Thanks everybody for taking a little time today. Bear with me while I just kind of set this up. Okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. Let's make it bigger. All right, so all day we've been talking about how the market is so difficult and some of the challenges that we're facing in terms of having enough techs and enough talent, even just in the market, to kind of grow and even over the long term, fill all of our jobs. But for this half hour, we want to just talk specifically about what you can do today to attract technicians for the jobs that you have open at present. So let's just dive right into that. We have this little anagram to kind of summarize all of our best practices, but also keep Lisa on track. So here's the nuts and bolts of it. We use attract as our anagram. Always be recruiting. Treat employees well. Transparency is key. Research your competitors. Ask employees for help. Cast a wide net, and turnaround time matters. And so those are not very specific. I'm going to dive into each of them just in a little bit more depth so that you can see what we mean by these. So let's start with the first one. Always be recruiting. It's kind of a strange concept for those of you who have been in the industry for a while. You know, time was you just would put a sign in the window or an ad wherever, and someone would come and be interested in your job, and you choose between a few candidates, and off you'd go. That's not the case anymore. The truth is, if you have an opening, it could take months and months and months to fill that opening, which is devastating for a business to have that kind of gap. So you sort of have to work ahead of the curve more than you ever had to in the past. And so what we recommend for shops is to never fully stop recruiting, to always be out there at least a little bit in the market with a job post, with social media, with networking, to keep the word out. And even if you're hiring slightly ahead of your need, you're going to be the better for it. And so here's a few examples of how you can do that. Nobody's suggesting that you should spend, you know, hours and hours and hours of your day trying to do this. That's not your role. And there's no way you can run your businesses in that way. But there are tools out there that can kind of help you keep your presence in the market on a regular basis and help you to develop a program that could fill these needs for you kind of in a regular way. WrenchWay is one of them. It's a great way to just kind of highlight what's great about your shop, what makes you stand out, and what opportunities are there. And career fairs and your social media page or your website are also really great ways to do it. If there's a career fair in your town, participate, get involved, get the word out about your opportunities, even if you're not going to hire someone for the next couple of months. Just get out there and start spreading the word. It will serve you tremendously. Treat your employees well. This seems like it should kind of be obvious, but let me be a little bit more specific. It's extremely expensive every time you lose an employee. Not just even the cost of replacing them, which can be incredibly steep, but the loss of productivity, if you don't have a tech to fill cars, your wait list gets longer and longer and longer. Maybe people go someplace else. And I know I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but the key is to fight the battle on both fronts, right? You have to get good at recruiting. And we've got some ways that we can help you kind of learn to do that. But you also have to focus on the people that you already have in place and kind of prevent that loss by creating the best possible environment. And here's some ways to do that. And I always say, the first step in recruiting is looking within, right? So you don't want to be out in the market and you have problems within your own team and additional exposure for them to be leaving. And there's two reasons for that. Firstly, one opening will very easily turn into two openings. And so those people are at risk of leaving just by virtue of the fact that somebody else left. It kind of starts people thinking. But also, these guys talk. The market is very small. It's a small community, even if you're in a big town. And so you want to have a happy team when you're recruiting because it makes it easier to recruit. But you also want to have a happy team so you don't have to do as much recruiting. Everyone's going to always have to do at least something. But you never want to be in a position where you've got to find 2 or 3 or 4 people. So, start by cleaning house and really, taking stock of what's going on there. And these are some questions that I think can really kind of help make sure that you're on the right path. And the first is that the team is paid at current market rates. You'd be surprised how often the answer to that is no. The market has grown and changed, and many people that are currently on teams that have been in their position for a while are paid under market rates. And that's going to become really obvious once people start moving into your shop or out of your shop. So when someone leaves and goes to another job, they don't completely lose contact with the people from their old shop, especially now with social media and all of that. So it can't be a secret. It won't be. Eventually it will come out, and a lot of the taboos about even talking about what you're paid kind of falling by the wayside. So that's a problem that really does need to be addressed. The next is my benefits package adequate? And I know that that's a really tough question for smaller shops. Oftentimes medical benefits are a huge expense and too much. It's really important to try. It really is. And when I say benefits, I really do mean medical, dental, vision, retirement of some kind. It's a tough pill to swallow, but the reality is uniforms don't cut it anymore as a benefit. Just saying PTO or sick time, you don't get good visibility on the job boards. Candidates have way too many options and puts you at a distinct disadvantage. So try really hard on that. And if you can only take a small step, take a small step. If you can take a bigger step, take a bigger step. The optimal circumstances, if you have medical, dental, vision, 401k or a retirement plan, and paid time off of some kind. Those 5 things together let me check all the important boxes on the job boards so that a job gets maximum exposure. That is really the key to the kingdom. So use that as the goal and try and, kind of get up beyond there. Let's see. So can anyone on my team be promoted into the open spot? I think a lot of times, we just think, oh, someone left, I got to replace them. Well, you have to replace somebody, but it doesn't necessarily have to be for the same position, right? So if your lead guy leaves, is there somebody great on your team that could step up into that role? The benefits of that are tremendous. Not just because then it's easier to replace a B Tech than an A Tech, right? But also because your team will see that, and even the people that weren't promoted will reap benefits from that. they'll see that you're willing to invest and promote from within. The entire team feels better about the team when they see other people on the team being able to move up. So if you have anybody that's close and some training or some coaching, or they're within viable range, at least consider it. And if you don't decide to do that, and you still want to recruit from outside, and you have somebody that is a little bit close to being qualified, talk to them. Don't let them wonder, what was it that was missing for me? Why didn't I get a chance at that? Have the conversation before you do anything, and help them to understand what they can do to next time be the right person for that role. And even better, help them get there with training or different work opportunities or what have you. That can go a tremendous way to maybe not losing somebody, a second person who feels like they should have gotten a chance at that job but didn't. So definitely stop and kind of reflect on that and see if there's somebody that you either could be promoting or should be talking to about that position and why they're maybe not quite ready and how they can get there for the future. And then last but not least, if you've kind of gone through all four of those things, then it's a natural question to say to your team members, who do you know? Who would be a good asset to our team that I should be talking to? And if you've kind of checked the first four boxes, you'll be surprised at how anxious the team is to kind of help and to give you referrals. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Next one, T for transparency. This is a really important one that I think most people probably overlook or maybe don't instinctively do. Every job seeker wants to understand the new job that they're considering, but especially in this market where virtually everyone is employed who wants to be, and they mostly have good jobs with good circumstances. In order for them to leave, there's a level of risk. And so a job seeker is going to be really hesitant if they get the inclination that there's not full transparency or they can't find the information easily that can help them understand the job. And let me give you some examples here. So this is, we go back to the same example that we used in the last video for the app with Dan's Auto Center. And this is their information on WrenchWay. And that's only one way to, present the information on your website, on the career page, or on social media, perfectly appropriate, but also on the job boards. But this is a good example of a really detailed information page about their jobs. As you can see, they have all their jobs listed: A-level tech, B-level tech, C-level tech. They also have their pay range listed. And notice that they're listed in annual. And now I think this is a really important point because most people don't do it that way. Most people will list an hourly rate, which makes perfect sense because that's how most techs are paid, right? But the problem with that is that every single shop has a different type of compensation plan. The bonus structure is different. The flat rate is different. Even if the flat rate and the bonus structure is exactly the same, the traffic in each shop is different. So it's very difficult for a technician to be sitting in one shop under a certain set of circumstances and imagine what it's like in the other shop and feel comfortable enough to know, yeah, I have an opportunity to make a better salary there. The only way you can do that is by helping them to compare apples to apples. And the only way to do that, with every shop having a different type of compensation plan and different traffic and different bonuses, is to convert it all to a yearly salary. Everybody knows what they made last year because everyone has to do taxes. Everyone gets, the same paperwork and so on. So a tech can always know, oh yeah, $56,000 is what I made last year. I can make 65 at this job. This is a better opportunity for me. That's why we list it in this manner. And then we'll explain, you can elaborate on your bonus system and your hourly rates and all of that during the interview and even in the job description or many other places. But when you get the chance to do a range like this, go for the annual. It will pay you benefits every time. Speaking of benefits, you see they've got a benefits tab there. They also talk about the work environment, what career development opportunities are there, and hiring process. Those are all super important and create a really good picture for the candidates to kind of decide, is it worth the risk of me leaving my good job or even just going to interview and maybe my boss finding out? So that's real important. One other thing on visibility that I'll just kind of call out, it's a place where people trip that I think is an unforced error. And it makes it difficult for them in the long term. We tend to hide what we think candidates won't like. So if you do a ton of warranty work and you think some people aren't going to like that, maybe you kind of downplay that. If there's a mobile aspect to the job that some people don't like, we tend to downplay that. Or if the repairs have to be made outside and it's, you happen to live in Florida like I do, that's probably not wonderful. So we tend to downplay that. But it's not helpful in the long run. It seems like it is, right? More people will apply if they don't realize they're going to have to fix trucks on the side of the road in the sweltering heat of Florida summer. But those people, even if you hire them, those are the ones that leave after a couple of weeks. You can't hide it. If they weren't a fit to do repairs outdoors in sweltering heat during the interview process, but they didn't know about it, they're not going to be a match in a month. So it's counterintuitive. You kind of have to show the things that might not be the best about the job as well, so that the person that you hire is going to have longevity and be the right match. And that's really hard to do, I know, but it is super important. And the teams that have the people that last the longest have the best visibility. So, if there's something that you're hesitant about, and we're happy to help you figure out the kind of nice way to kind of package that and how to highlight the positives while also including what some people might be negatives. But there's always somebody that's a match for the job. It's just a matter of finding the right person. And so don't hide it. If you're a little hesitant, paint the full picture, warts and all, and the right person will eventually come through. Okay, so R, research a competition. This one is much easier nowadays, right? Everyone has access to, all social media, websites, and so on. And it's important because you want to see how you stack up. You want to, if your neighbor down the block, if your competitor is paying way more than you are, you're going to be at a disadvantage. If they have better benefits, if they're only working Monday through Friday, these are all things you need to know, even if you're not able to completely match that yet. But you need to know where you need to head. And if you're doing great, that's great to know too, because you need to shout that from the rooftops. But if you haven't checked out what they're doing, you can't do any of that. You can't work towards improving, and you can't highlight how great you are because you don't actually really know where you are. So that's an important step. And I mentioned a couple of these ways. WrenchWay, again, is a great way to do that because the best of the best are displayed there in good detail. And it's a quick and easy way for you to find out about your competition the same way that techs are finding out about jobs. Job boards, everybody's got Indeed and Zip and Glassdoor. You can just kind of poke around in there and see what your contacts are up to. Also ask your employees. you know, they might know people at other shops. You know, how's that shop to work in? Anything that we can learn from them? It's a great way to kind of just even start a conversation with your employees about, you know, the work environment and so on. So keep that in mind. And your network, you know, most of us are involved in community networking groups and that kind of thing, Chamber of Commerce and what have you. Talk to them, see what they're doing and what you can learn from them, and vice versa. Okay, next A. So ask your employees for help. So in theory, if you've done all those previous things, you have really satisfied employees who are naturally inclined to help. And so this stat, it seems like hyperbole, right? 561% social media go further, but it's a factual stat. If you have a company post on your company social media and one of your employees shares it about a job, it is far more likely to go and to be seen and to be digested by the people that see it. I mean, we all get social media ads and posts and all of that. And there's a big difference between a post that is shared by one of your friends and a post that just kind of shows up on a page you follow that you probably hardly ever even see. So this is a big thing, and it's super easy for your employees to do it. You know, at the staff meeting or, you know, whatever, just let, you know, announce that this position is open. You know, Joe's going to be leaving. We have an open position. We're putting it up on social media this afternoon. Everybody, please go out and share it. And it's super easy for employees to help in that manner. And if you've created a positive work environment, they're anxious to do it. You can add to that too. I mean, you can add incentives to make that even a bigger push from your employees. And here's some examples of that. A super simple employee referral program will take you very far. So you can just plain ask them to share the job postings. You can also reward them for doing that, right? If we get to a certain number of shares, you know, there's a free lunch in the break room this week, or, you know, whoever shares it to the most people, you know, gets a gift card or whatever, you know, works for your business. You can also just do a prize or a gift card for people that make referrals that get brought in for interviews. Or the most common of all the ways is to just give employees a small bonus if you hire somebody that they referred. That kind of stuff happens all the time, and it's a great way to get somebody that's not a cold lead. That's somebody who had enough trust from one of your employees to refer them to their place of employment. That's a big deal, and those are really great employees to get. And if it costs you a few $100s to kind of incentivize that, it's worth it every day of the year. Okay, closing in on it now. So this is my bread and butter right here. This is what I do. As part of Find a Wrench and the ASR team, we've gotten really good at casting a wide net. But you don't have to have a full-fledged operation to do that. You just have to really focus on it and do it consistently. Putting this cute little help wanted sign in the window used to be a really good way to fill a job, but it's just not enough anymore. There aren't enough technicians to go around. So there's a bunch of things that you can do, and this is kind of an easy way for me to illustrate that for you. This is a sample customer as part of our assisted self-recruiting program at Find a Wrench. And obviously this is a fancy way of displaying it. You don't need to have something this fancy if you're doing it on your own, but take a look at some of the points here, and I think they're really important. So as you can see, for this client, we've posted their job to more than 100 job boards, and they have premium posts on 30 different job boards. And that might seem like overkill, but it's really not. Here's why. think about how you even approach job posts or job hunts. Nobody sits down and says, let me think of every single job board that's out there and put my resume on all of them. And then every day, let me check for new posts on each of them. It's just not how it works. Most people pick one. And some people don't even put their resumes up on it. They just kind of sign up for the little daily things and wait for the emails to come in. So the chances of getting to the full range of people that could possibly be interested in your job, if you only post one place, are really small. So you have to cast a wide net and post in a lot of different places. Also, in today's day and age, there's a lot of people who aren't even going on job boards. Most people aren't looking for jobs right now. So why would they go to job boards? But they are on social media, and they might be open to a new opportunity. And so social media is a great way to get in touch with people. And you can do it on your own social media pages. But what we also do as part of the ASR program is post those job openings in social media groups, like the community page for the town, or all different kinds. Some of them are job pages, some of them are community pages. Really, anything that's in your area that's a group where a lot of people congregate digitally is a great place for this, as long as you're following the rules of the group. You never want to spam. That does not work. But if it's within the rules of the group, a job posting to one of these community groups can get you a lot of traction. And it's a piece of the puzzle that you won't meet just by doing a job post. And then last but not least is this section right here where it says pipeline. Those are candidates who are completely passive that we just know about from past interactions or what have you, that we reach out to from time to time to see if maybe they're interested in making a move now. They're not looking. They're what we call passive candidates. And for you, they're probably called your network, people that you've gone to school with, or former employees, people from conferences or what have you. But we reach out on a weekly basis there. So it's got to be a really wide net, not just one thing. Do all of it. And then on top of that, do it a lot. So you can't just put a post on Indeed and expect, like 90 days later, that's still going to be just as effective. Couple weeks and it's too old already. So you have to do all of that stuff repeatedly. And I know that does seem like a very labor intensive project, but FinderX can help with that. And there's lots of ways to kind of have technology help you to be able to do that in a way that's not too all-consuming. Last but not least, and I'm probably preaching to the choir because you guys are all here and trying to actively learn, so you're probably already on top of this, but turnaround time. It's incredibly important in this kind of market. These guys, if they even hint that they're thinking about possibly switching jobs, or if they just peek on a job board, couple of days and they'll have many opportunities at their disposal. So if you get somebody to apply for a job, are you replying the same day or the next day? If you're replying the next day, they may be gone. If you're replying 3 days from now, they are gone. So if you have an opening, or if you're doing, what I recommend, which is you're always recruiting, set aside a time every morning. Maybe it's even just first thing as you're getting ready. See anybody that came in overnight, reply to them right away, and then do it at all steps of the process. Not just they sent a resume, called them right away, I set up an appointment for next Tuesday. Nope, they're gone by then. Or they've been countered already and they've decided they're going to stay where they are. Get their resume, call them, see if they can come in that afternoon. If they can't, get them in the next morning. And then once you get them in after they leave, don't leave them hanging. Call them that afternoon and let them know how it went or what the next step is. no later than the next day. The days of, I saw somebody on a Monday, I'm going to mull it over, I'm going to talk to this one, I'll see 3 more people, and then I'll decide who I'm going to pick. Those days are gone. If you want a chance at the person, then you have to really act quickly. The ideal process is we get a resume, you have it by the next morning, you're interviewing them by the next day, and you've made a decision, either offer or, they're in, assessments or background checks or whatever the next day, and they're started by the next week. That's the ideal. So build that kind of into your timeline. And anytime that you're reaching out, don't just rely on one method. 1/3 of the people in the world don't pick up the phone. 1/3 of the people in the world don't ever check email. And another 1/3, will only communicate by text. So you don't know which one you have. You have to do them all. So I just do them at once. I will text, I will call, I will email. And then the next day, if I haven't heard back, I will do it again. Give people every possible chance to get back to you as soon as possible, and reach out to them a little bit on their terms. It seems counterintuitive, but that's how you'll be able to connect and get somebody moving through the process. Okay. Oops, we're back to our summary. So basically, here's the list again, just to kind of sum the whole thing up. Always be recruiting. Don't wait until you have the opening. Treat your employees well so that you don't have the opening, and so that word on the street is good about what you have to offer. Be super transparent about what you have to offer, warts and all. See what your competitors are doing and how you can kind of up your game or shout your successes from the rooftops. Get your employees involved, and then cast a super wide net. And when you start getting results, jump on that with speed and move people through the process quickly. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I don't know if we have any more time. I think we kind of blew through it all, but if you have any questions, I'd be very happy to answer them.
I think we're all good, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. Really, really good information. I think obviously you're able to go into a great detail in terms of what we do. So I appreciate that. And I think that's a lot of good content for the people that are attending today. So thank you for doing that.